back to Capitol Review. The Congressional Black Caucus has its largest membership in its history, and it comes ahead of the incoming Trump administration. Cheyanne Daniels is the race and politics reporter for our media partners at The Hill. And Cheyanne, welcome back to Capitol Review.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, we're glad to have you. Cheyanne, talk about the role of the Congressional Black Caucus.
Yeah, absolutely. The Congressional Black Caucus is known as the conscience of the Congress. And when they first started, 46 years ago, it was just with 13 members, one woman, Shirley Chisholm. And really their goal was to create a space not just for Black legislators on Capitol Hill to meet with each other, but to come together and discuss how do they best represent Black Americans. Now, obviously, as this is the largest class that the Congress has, or the Congressional Black Caucus, I should say, has had, and they represent more than just Black Americans. They represent Americans of all different ethnicities, but their goal is still to find the best ways to represent and put the voices of minorities at the forefront of policy discussions.
Cheyanne, you talk about their numbers. So the CBC has a record number of members, like you just mentioned. 62 are Democrats. The 5 members that are not members of the CBC are Republicans. But do those numbers make them impactful?
Yes, absolutely. I was speaking with some of the new leadership just this week. They've just been sworn in ahead of President-elect Trump's inauguration. And they were saying, yes, they're all Democrats, and yes, the Republicans control the House and the Senate. But with 62 members, they were pointing out at some point in time, a Republican is going to need one of those 62 members to back legislation that they're putting forward. So they definitely feel that they still hold a lot of power regardless of whether or not their party is in control.
How do they plan to work with the Trump administration and the Republican majority?
Yeah, so this is going to be very interesting. The CBC is extremely focused on things like voting rights, criminal justice reform, particularly if you think about the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, which is stalled in Congress, and particularly diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts, all of which are very sort of hot button topics, things that Republicans and Democrats don't see eye to eye on all the time. And so leaders for the CBC are saying that they are going to be working with other members of the Democratic Party to try to form a larger coalition that they can then use to pressure Republicans to be able to say, again, if you need something from us, you're going to need to be able to speak on our language, speak to us, and support us on some of these very critical issues that the CBC is affecting predominantly Black Americans.
And Cheyanne, you're talking about critical issues. Are members of the CBC optimistic that this Congress can be more productive than the previous Congress, which, as you know, didn't get a whole lot done for the American people?
It's interesting because when I brought up the fact that the Republican Party is facing some divisions, if you think about even just going into the speaker election process, there was some debate whether or not we would be seeing another round of 15 votes or what have you. And members of the CBC are saying the one thing that you don't see is those types of divisions with the Congressional Black Caucus, and that no matter what, they're saying that they are supporting each other and they support Representative Hakeem Jeffries, the minority leader, and they said that their unity is what is going to allow them to be able to accomplish and pass the legislation that they say Americans want.
Cheyanne Daniels, thank you very much for joining us.